I hope you're starting to see that this event is, it's about thought leadership, not just pitches in the traditional sense. So here was one of our member companies really opening up about some of the needs that they have, and that's really, I think, embodies some of the spirit that we have in this initiative. This is really about, it's a meeting place for partnerships, and it's then crucial that people in this room are willing to open up about that. So it's not just about presenting how wonderful your particular mission is, but it's also about talking about the shortcomings, and hopefully this venue can be a place where we can start addressing some of those, and some of those needs that Gore here pointed out. I think that there are answers in this community that could help us with that. Now, the last little piece before the panel debate, where we'll have a lot more questions, is our investor keynote, and we have brought in David Thibodeau here from Vest Capital, and he has 30 years experience in the wellness market on the private equity side, and would love to hear what he thinks are the trends and what's going on with sports, nutrition, and wellness. Thank you, David.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to be here. Can everybody hear me? Good. It's actually pretty exciting to be here. I've been in this space, what I call the health and wellness space, for some 30 years. Started with a natural peanut butter company in downtown Boston in the mid-'80s, with no notion of going into this wellness world, but found out back then that peanut butter, that we all loved a lot, and peanut butter and chocolate together were actually health foods. Peanut butter has a lot of protein, it has a lot of monounsaturated fat, so as I started learning more about this, I got more interested in the natural products industry and wellness in general. And back in the 80s, that was a pretty nascent industry. So most of the people in the natural products industry in those years were hippies, were counterculture, and they were growing foods. They were working on organic farms and co-ops, and basically snubbing their nose at corporate America. The problem was, it was kind of twofold. They had this mission, but they had no money. And with no money, there's no mission. So we've learned that from many people in the world, particularly a lot of the good sisters who are out there doing God's work. So what I learned was we needed to do some improvements. We needed to improve how we access capital, but we also needed to improve the products. We needed to make them much more accessible to a much broader audience. In those days, most of the packaging that these products came in tasted better than the products inside. That's a tough sell. And so the industry set about doing what it has done today, and what you see in Whole Foods and many of the other natural food stores. The products are greatly improved. And ultimately, there was kind of a marriage between the specialty food industry over here and the natural products here, and today you have something called Whole Foods and Sprouts Marketplace and many others. And the reason for this story is 5 years ago, I live in Boston, I work in Boston, I have for many, many years. I couldn't walk across the bridge and talk to anybody in Cambridge. They would look at me and say, no, nutrition, bad. It's not a single molecule. We can't understand it, we can't study it. So if you're talking about supplements, which I agree, there are a lot of supplements that are not so good out there, but there's other supplements that are good and that have gone through a lot of rigorous testing. Omega-3 is a good example. There's other holistic approaches. Eastern medicine, so herbals, with a lot of different molecules, are very hard to analyze and understand, but we do know that they seem to have worked for a big audience, big population, for some 200 or 2,000 years. So where we are today is at a place, I walk across this bridge, and now I actually am invited to things like this, talking to a lot of companies at MIT, at Harvard, people that are in startups in Kendall Square, and a lot of the pharma companies are paying attention to this. So it's an interesting time in the world of nutrition. And I think all of you in this room, both from the big companies and also the startups, will play a very key role in moving the industry forward much more rapidly. So I was years ago involved in a company called Zone Perfect Nutrition. We kind of started that company, a guy named Dr. Barry Sear. Some of you may know him. He's a research scientist actually out of MIT. And he wrote a book called The Zone Diet. And he was similar to you that said, hey, I will only sell my Zone Perfect bars, which had a certain amount of protein, carbohydrate, and fat, and elicited certain outcomes. You either believe it or you don't. But he only wanted to sell to people who would actually talk to him, get on his program for a 6-week period. And we scratched our heads. We were financing them and said, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't it make more sense to have a consumer make a choice? Choose the nutrition bar versus a candy bar and feel the difference. And you will feel the difference over time because it doesn't spike your insulin levels, et cetera. So ultimately, he came around and we started to get people into the ball game. They started not on the pitcher's mound, but they started in the outfield. And so that's really important as we think about how to advance nutrition and wellness in the future. So now we come to what's WellVest Capital have to do with this. So we're a unique Boston-based merchant banking firm that's focused on this $1 trillion consumer healthy living industry. You can call it, we coined healthy living years ago at Adams Hardison Hill. It's health and wellness, healthy living. It's all the components that make up living a healthier lifestyle, which is really important because everything they're doing in Washington today about healthcare, it doesn't really matter because 75% of our healthcare costs are spent on chronic diseases that could be solved through lifestyle changes. Again, that's where people in this room come in. So we can change and bend the curve on healthcare costs. It should be the other way around. 75% of our healthcare dollars should be going to diseases that are not lifestyle changes. So we have a big opportunity in front of us. So we do a lot of things at WellVest. We invest in companies. We advise companies. We do a lot of merger and acquisition in this category. So a typical merchant banking operation. We focus on kind of 4 major areas. Nutritional products, functional foods, natural and organic products, and what I think is really most exciting, and a lot of people in this room are involved in wellness information and technology. So I think wellness information and technology is really the last mile for a consumer. If you think about a wellness consumer as a bullseye, in the very core of the bullseye you have most of the people in this room who actually understand nutrition, understand wellness. They are in the center. They don't need a lot of additional either feedback or social interaction to get up in the morning, go for a run, to eat properly, et cetera. But as you move out to the outer rings, it becomes very challenging to get those people to change their nutritional and lifestyle behavior. Your question earlier to Leonard was, it's not just a single pill. No, it's not. It's a holistic approach to how you live your lifestyle. And that's what this industry really is all about. It's not one solution fits all. There are many solutions to this, and each one plays a role in helping individuals along their continuum of lifestyle, excuse me, of health and wellness. So when we look at where we play, it's not just in one area. Healthy living is kind of the core of what we do. So how do we touch that? Through manufacturers, marketers of products, distributors, complementary and integrative medicine, which is today in a place that you couldn't even imagine 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. And right through the entire supply chain of products and services around living a healthier lifestyle. Why is this an interesting sector? Because it is a growth sector. Why did Amazon just put a deal on the table for $14 billion for this little natural products retailer? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Where 10 years ago, people would say, Whole Foods, what's that? So it is a place that people are coming. There are more and more people entering that bullseye and trying to get into the center. And that's causing a lot of growth in every sector of this area. That's why we continue to be interested in it, because it is a place to make money. And a lot of money has been made over the years. What's driving people to this market? So why are you doing what you do? Because in America and around the world, we're unhealthy. The obesity rates haven't stopped. Preventable chronic diseases that are driven by lifestyle choices are driving people to unhealthy rates in this country that are unbelievable. That's driving our healthcare costs up. So we've got healthy Americans on the other side that are demanding products and services. So once you start down this path, you want some of these devices. You want to know the feedback. You want to be able to really accelerate your progress along your continuum of health and wellness. So consumers are looking for, and they're looking for alternatives to pharmaceuticals. It's no longer accepted to say, hey, I'm going to take a high blood pressure pill because that's what my doctor says. You are now saying, well, wait a minute, what else can I do to bring my blood pressure down, to bring my cholesterol levels down? So again, going back to that integrative approach. Interestingly enough, this as a growth area has been most recently a very frothy place for investment. So why is that? Well, we see a lot of money coming in from the West Coast, from technology companies. A lot of high-tech companies, guys who've made a lot of money, are starting to put money into this space. Alternatives to food, for example, meat alternatives, are a hot category. Alternatives to how you get your meals and how you prepare your meals, Blue Apron, right? We have many, many examples of companies that are in our space that are driving the excitement. And unfortunately, I call it stupid money because oftentimes money comes into this space without really understanding it well enough, and therefore valuations go up, which is good on one side but really bad on the other because generally they're not great outcomes. And so we try to bridge that gap, try to put some reality. Everybody needs to win, but we need to win at the right rate so that these companies continue to grow and excel and help change people's lifestyle. So I don't see this market changing. I see more and more people coming into it. I'm excited about the future. I think we have a lot of runway to go. I think companies that are in this room are going to play a key role in that last mile of wellness because now we've got people's attention. And soon, maybe Washington will buy into the concept that it is more than just helping people take a pill, but it's a complete lifestyle change that all these products and services will help. So with that.
Perfect. Thanks very much. We have time for one quick question as we are getting the chairs and setting up for the panel debate without any breaks. So if there's a question to the capital side of this industry very quickly, we can take that. Otherwise, I have prepared a lineup of questions for the panel. This is all of the speakers. Yes, Judith. Yeah, sorry.
How do you deal with the fact that the internet and also the health food stores are filled with products that make claims with no justification and indeed really occasionally will promote totally fake science? And when you try to get the good information from them, they say, well, we publish this in a journal, but the journals are all sort of for-profit journals, $1,000 a page, and they get their clinical studies published. How do you counteract that?
We've been dealing with this in this industry for as long as I've been in it, right? A natural food is just the same as a processed food full of preservatives, et cetera. All our science says yes, but the basic natural food is, as we all know, a better alternative. In terms of some of the claims that are being made around supplements, as a firm, we made a decision a long time ago to make sure that there is science and there is research behind it. ED drugs or ED testosterone products they proliferate on the internet, right? That's not a place we play. This is a free market. It's not regulated by the FDA. There's not enough money in the world to regulate the Deshay law. And if no one knows what that is, I can explain it. But the Deshay law is critical, but it is a marketplace. So the consumer, has to take ownership. And so the companies that we deal with actually understand that. They try to educate. They do the research. They're like Leonard's company, right? Those are the kind of companies that we deal with. They're not an FDA-approved product like a pharmaceutical, but they have better science than not. So that's the best way we can explain it.